Here's the deal, Adam. How can we do our job if we're not allowed to have opinions? We're not allowed to talk about this.
In what is quickly becoming one of the most talked about and consequential moments in recent WWE history, WWE official Adam Pearce has finally broken his silence regarding the shocking and brutal backstage assault on Roman Reigns by Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. Just moments ago, Pearce took the unprecedented step of firing both Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, an announcement that stunned the WWE Universe and triggered emotional reactions from fans and superstars alike. The decision comes after days of speculation, outrage, and growing pressure on WWE management to respond to what many are calling one of the most heinous backstage attacks in recent memory. With Roman Reigns now sidelined due to injuries sustained during the ambush, the move by Pearce not only marks a turning point in WWE's current power structure, but also sends a powerful message about accountability, discipline, and the lengths to which WWE will go to protect its biggest stars. The attack that shook WWE. What happened to Roman Reigns? The incident in question occurred just 48 hours ago on Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns, the self-proclaimed tribal chief and long-reigning Universal Champion, was ambushed in a vicious and unprovoked backstage assault that left him bruised, bloodied, and ultimately hospitalized. Eyewitnesses reported that Reigns had just finished a private meeting with WWE officials and was making his way back to his dressing room when Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed emerged from the shadows and launched a coordinated, ferocious attack. Armed with steel chairs, trash cans, and even equipment crates, the two rising stars showed no hesitation or remorse as they relentlessly battered Roman to the ground. Security footage released by WWE later confirmed the shocking level of violence. Reigns was heard shouting in pain as Breakker delivered a bone-rattling spear through a production table, while Reed followed with a devastating tsunami splash onto the already incapacitated champion. Medical personnel arrived moments later, but the damage had been done. Roman Reigns' condition, injury update. WWE's medical team issued a statement shortly after the incident, confirming that Roman Reigns suffered multiple injuries including bruised ribs, a dislocated shoulder, and a mild concussion. While not career-threatening, the injuries are serious enough to keep the tribal chief off television for an indefinite period. The news of Reigns' condition caused widespread concern across the WWE Universe. Fans, fellow superstars, and even former Shield members took to social media to express outrage and support. Seth Rollins tweeted, "You mess with the head of the table, you mess with all of us," while Jimmy Uso posted a cryptic message suggesting retribution was on the horizon. Who are Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed? To understand the magnitude of this situation, we must look at who Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed are, and why their firing is such a dramatic development. Bron Breakker. A powerhouse athlete and second-generation superstar, Bron Breakker, real name Bronson Rechsteiner, is the son of WWE Hall of Famer Rick Steiner and nephew of Scott Steiner. Breakker burst onto the scene in NXT with explosive intensity, quickly establishing himself as a future main eventer. Known for his speed, power, and intensity, he has long been seen as one of WWE's most promising young stars. Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed, the Australian juggernaut, is a former NXT North American champion and a fan favourite, thanks to his surprising agility and raw strength. His return to WWE's main roster was met with excitement, and many believed he was on the path to a major title run. Together, the two formed an unlikely alliance, a destructive force built on shared resentment and ambition. But that ambition clearly crossed the line when they chose to take out Roman Reigns in an attempt to make a statement and force their way into the spotlight. Adam Pearce responds, "You're fired!" After nearly 2 days of silence, WWE authority figure Adam Pearce addressed the situation in an emotionally charged in-ring segment during SmackDown. The WWE Universe held its breath as Pearce walked down the ramp without his usual composed demeanor. The fire in his eyes signaled that he wasn't coming to negotiate. Standing in the middle of the ring with the WWE logo flashing red behind him, Pearce held a microphone and spoke words that carried weight across the industry. What Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed did to Roman Reigns was not a rivalry. It was an act of pure violence. It was a disgrace to the legacy of this business. We do not tolerate cowardly ambushes. We do not reward senseless brutality. As of this moment, you're both fired from WWE. The crowd erupted in a mix of cheers and shock. Some were pleased to see justice delivered, while others gasped at the realization that two of WWE's fastest rising stars had just been cut loose. Pearce didn't stop there. He went on to promise an investigation and announced that any superstar who supports or associates with the attackers will be subject to disciplinary action. Fallout backstage. Locker room divided. Backstage, the mood was tense. Some superstars applauded Pearce for taking swift and decisive action. Others, however, questioned whether firing two high-profile talents without warning would open WWE to legal or contractual complications. There were also whispers that Breakker and Reed were not acting alone, that another mastermind, possibly a current superstar or authority figure, had orchestrated the attack. The Shield's legacy, Roman's dominance, and his ongoing influence backstage may have made him a target of jealousy and conspiracy. Veterans like Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Drew McIntyre reportedly confronted Pearce backstage, demanding assurances that something like this wouldn't happen again. Even Cody Rhodes commented, saying, "If this is what it takes to get noticed now, then we've lost the soul of what this business stands for." What's next for Reigns, Pearce, and WWE? Now that Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed have been officially fired, the question turns to what happens next. Will Roman Reigns recover in time for Survivor Series or even WrestleMania season? Will this shocking attack trigger the return of the bloodline in full force, perhaps even recruiting new members to avenge their fallen leader? There's also the looming question of whether this is truly the end for Breakker and Reed, or just a swerve in a larger, more layered WWE storyline. WWE has, after all, been known to blur the lines between fiction and reality in dramatic fashion. Could they be reinstated under certain conditions? Might Paul Heyman or another powerful figure pull strings behind the scenes? Whatever the case, this story is far from over. Conclusion: justice served or just the beginning? Adam Pearce's decision to fire Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed sends a powerful message. WWE will not tolerate unchecked violence, even from its brightest stars. But the repercussions of this moment stretch far beyond two terminations. They touch the core of WWE's moral compass, its future main event scene, and the fate of Roman Reigns, who now faces both physical recovery and a challenge to his throne.